My name is Matthew Jimenez. I'm a software engineer and I live in Bakersfield, California. I did end up getting Omicron. I think it was in the week before Christmas, and actually my whole entire family ended up getting it, which was pretty unfortunate. I was unvaccinated, but my family, I would say about 70% of them were vaccinated, but myself being probably the person who ended up getting them all infected. So it was a week before Christmas, and we had, I think, three friends over that weekend to watch a UFC fight. And one of them, when he got there, had told us that he had recently been around somebody that was infected the past week before that. So a bit of a letdown that he didn't get tested before coming. He said he felt fine when he arrived, but we all had it in our mind that we might end up getting sick from it. We're not sure if it actually came from him or not because it had already been, or sorry, so he hung out with somebody like 2 or 3 weeks prior, and he stopped showing symptoms about a week before coming to hang out with us. So we're not sure if we got it from him or if possibly I got it from my girlfriend who got it from work, because there was a person who called out from her company, I'd say probably like 4 or 5 days prior to us showing symptoms. So for me, it hit me first. I was the first one to start showing the symptoms, and then my girlfriend started showing symptoms 2 days later, I would say, maybe a day later, 2 days later. But for me, when I first started showing, and as usual, because when I was younger and now it's starting to come back as I get older, I have asthma. And so my breathing will start getting very shallow, and I'll start, just noticing changes in my breathing pattern. And then obviously the little temperature rise in my body. I'm pretty sensitive to when I'm getting sick. So I typically catch things really early. And those are the first two things that happen is the shallow breathing and then like the elevated body temperature. For me, I believe I previously had COVID, so I'm not sure if I'm the best reference for determining whether it was more mild or not. It was definitely more mild than the first time I had COVID, which would be probably about a year previous to this time. And this time it was definitely much more milder. I didn't get my temperature, I believe, got to maybe a 101, but never got any higher than that. And I did have body aches as well, but that's about the extent of it. I didn't really I didn't get, like I said that I initially had the shallowness of breath, but I would say like out of a 1 to 10 rating, the shallowness would be maybe a 3. So it wasn't too extreme. The panic starts to kick in at first because you're just convinced that COVID is extremely bad and you're going to end up getting crazy symptoms, especially before they started saying that Omicron was less severe and more mild. So I was pretty scared, and especially it was spreading it to everybody else. So panic started to kick in. But as time passed by, I realized that the symptoms weren't getting bad. And I obviously went to go get tested as soon as possible. So those tests did come back positive. But the symptoms, like I said, did not get worse. So I tried not to panic. And like I said, we did end up, before I started showing the symptoms, we ended up hanging out with my family probably like 2 days prior to that. So 2 days prior to I started showing symptoms, we hung out with my family. And so that caused me to some panic as well, especially because my mom was currently getting chemo treatment at the time for breast cancer. So I was very worried about her getting it. And so I let them know as soon as possible, as soon as I started showing symptoms before I even got tested, that, hey, I might have COVID and you guys should start loading up on any vitamins and rest that you can possibly take advantage of right now. So just in case you guys do get it, you're ahead of the curve at least. And so they took my advice and they started taking I think vitamin D and zinc at higher doses, and just resting a lot, trying not to stay up late and sleeping in, trying to get that extra rest so their body was healthy when they ended up getting it. And so they did end up getting it, but they did pretty well too. And they described the symptoms as very mild as well, which was shocking because my mom, like I said, was going through chemo at that time. So we assumed that her immune system would be compromised and she would get pretty sick, but she probably did better than everybody else, which was very surprising. It feels great because, like I said, it's probably at the very least, this is my second time. So twice tested positive. Um, so at the very least, this is my second time getting it. So I feel like if I were to get it a third time, I would hope that my immune system is going to be able to handle it pretty well, and hopefully my immune system's strong enough to not get a higher enough viral load in the first place to be symptomatic. So I feel pretty great about it.